since Queen Aelin and King Doran brought peace to Erilea. But the scars of battle still linger, haunting the land. Erewhon, Maeve, and the Vow may have been defeated, but a new threat looms in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. As politics, love, and betrayal intertwine, farmlands are ravaged by bandits, trouble brews on the borders, and darkness lies in wait, ready to consume the land once more. Can this party of heroes rise above the challenges that stand in their way, and save Erilea from the brink of destruction? Or will the walls of this newly built kingdom come tumbling down?
Not me forgetting to shut off the loop. Good job, Hoolie. Well, hello and happy Saturday. Welcome back to Heroes and Hooligans, where we are always up to shenanigans and creating chaos. We are launching a brand new D&D campaign this evening, Chronicles of Erilea. It is a story set within the world of Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, just 100 years after the end of the last book, to avoid major characters and so on and so forth. So if you haven't read the book, I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you to leave. I want you to stay and hang out, but prepare for spoilers. I would love to welcome all of my lovely players to the table. Some of them have been here before and are coming back. Some of them are brand new. We're going to go around so you can get to know who they are. Jojo, my darling, you're going to start us off.
Hi, I'm Joe. This is not my first time. This is not my first rodeo. But I play Elowen. She is a carpenter, also a barbarian. So she's pretty neat. She's a guild artisan. She likes to do stuff. She's crafty, I guess.
She likes to hit things.
Yeah.
It works. Hammer nails, hit somebody with a hammer, whatever.
Yeah. Arm strength's the same.
Hammer, including people.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same skill set. Just a different thing at the end of the hammer, right?
No different.
Well, I'm happy you're back, Jojo. Thanks for being here, and I'm happy to meet Elowen as well.
Me too.
Chris. Hi, Fred.
Hey. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. My name is Chris, and I will be playing the character of Gus. Gus is a very, very sweet old grandpa that just imagine exactly what everyone would love, and that's exactly what Gus is. And so you'll find out more about him over time and why he's here. But yeah, he's trying to make his former wife proud.
Fantastic. Oh God. I'm happy to meet Gus. I'm excited. He reminds me in his Hero Forge of Herschel from Walking Dead.
Yeah, I definitely was taking a lot of those type of characters and just trying to morph them all into one very sweet old man. So
yeah, I love it. I love Herschel. He's one of my favorites. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. So I'm Sarah. I am not a Heroes and Hooligans virgin, but I've been away for a while, so I'm ecstatic to be back. And I will be playing Portia Fitzdelphine. And I mean, how much do you want us to give right now?
Not your typical backstory length, but just like a little bit of information about her would be good.
Okay, so she is an Air Genasi, and she is a rogue, and right now she's in a very fancy dress, so we'll find out the rest later.
Yeah. She is in a very fancy dress. I love it. Portia has a sister, if I'm not mistaken.
Half
sister.
Half sister. Half is very important.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Vinny.
Really look alike.
Hi.
The sister we speak of.
Yes, I am playing I am Vinny. Him, playing Delandra Rose Hemlock. She, her. Also a rogue, sister to Portia. And I am also in a very fancy dress, but slightly more servant-based.
Catering. You're with the catering.
Catering, yes.
The like white shirt and black vest with the like fake bow tie.
I like the slightly more servant-based fancy dress. I like that description. That's fantastic. I dig it. Well, I'm happy you're here, and I'm excited to meet the Wonder Twins here. Oh, tabletop, or top-down tabletop.
Oh.
Thank you for the raid, friends. Nice to
Right.
see you.
Right.
Appreciate you.
She is a half-elf drow.
Half-elf drow, yes. Very excited to meet her. Shenanigans, hello. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Let's see. I am Shen, and I am playing Azathal. She is an Eldarin druid. She's an Eldarin druid. She's at the ball in a nice fancy dress. It's kind of like a black sequins, sort of 1920s looking dress. She's wearing gloves, and she's there to schmooze and get donors for the Torre Academy that's opened up in Rifthold.
Yes,
So
she's
there.
here to schmooze. I'm excited to see your schmoozing.
Rub elbows.
Yeah, rub elbows, get donations.
Yeah,
Doing that.
all of that fancy stuff. Well, welcome back to the table. I'm happy to be DMing for you again. And last but certainly not least, Tenshu, why don't you tell us about yourself and who you're playing?
Hey, how's it going? I'm Tinshu. They them, please. And I am playing Eli Corsair. I'm a merchant, kind of almost the leader of a merchant group, but not quite. He's waiting for his father to retire after an older sister passed away. And he's here really just doing as he should be, rubbing elbows, being a merchant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like everybody's dressed up really nice with someplace to go, right? Great. So I want to remind the audience, because I see we have some new viewers, which I'm super excited about. And thank you, Dragon Lancer, for your subscription. We appreciate you for that. You have channel points that you can use to contribute to the game. We like to call it causing chaos, because that's what we do here at Heroes and Hooligans. We embrace the chaos, right? So you can do all kinds of things with your channel points. You can give players advantages and disadvantages. You can give the DM advantages and disadvantages. You can make your players sing for things if they're trying to accomplish something and they weren't quite able to get it with their rolls. You can make them sing for it. You can generate random encounters for them. There are all kinds of things you can use your points for. I, as a GM, like to provide my players with something we call chaos coins. Chaos coins essentially are player rewards to keep you satisfied for things that happen during the game. So you get them if you roll a nat 20, you get a chaos coin. It's your reward for doing so. You also get them if you roll a natural 1, because we've all had those days where you're rolling your dice and you just roll shit all day and you're so annoyed by the end of the game that you did not have a good session. We use our chaos coins to sort of mitigate that. So if you roll a nat 1, you get a chaos coin. If you roll a nat 20, you get a chaos coin. There also are DM advantages. You can have up to 3 of them at a time, and they reset every session. I also like to give them to my players who attempt to dress up and represent themselves as their character. So Portia and Delandra will both be receiving a chaos coin this evening, as they have attempted somewhat to be a part of their character. I see Vinny's got some makeup on going over there, and Sarah's wearing a beautiful, lovely dress. So I'm going
my
to give
parrot
you
costume from Renfair today.
Okay, well, take the damn advantage, or I'll
I'll take it. I'm not complaining. I'm just clarifying. I'll take it.
See, I thought you were trying to dress up for your character. You got the black eyes going on as a sneaky rogue, but all right, pirate captain it is. So now that I've got all of that shenanigans and talking out of the way, we're going to go ahead and jump right into the game, and I'm going to set the scene for you. Let me get some music. Do we got good music? We do got good music because I put it there.
Excellent.
Excellent is correct. If I find the...
No dead air. None.
Right.
No dead air whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Probably lots of
dead
air because I don't have my life together. Is it this way?
It's the first session. We're still feeling all of this out.
Sounds about right for the first session.
Yeah.
Are you drinking out of a fluted glass?
It always gets better.
She is fancy. Leave her alone.
Are you drinking out of a fluted glass?
No, it's like a cordial glass.
I have my...
See? Period appropriate drinkware. I also have my water in a nice stein. So,
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
Isn't me. Mine has Appa on the front.
Let me have my immersion, damn it.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of immersion, if everybody's ready, we're gonna jump into it. I'm gonna set a beautiful scene for you. Okay. We're starting in Rifthold, the capital city of Ardalan. It sits in the center of Erilea. The castle has been undergoing construction over the last 100 years, trying to rebuild back what was lost and devastated during the war. The original castle was made of gold and glass and beautiful elven craftwork. Unfortunately, it was destroyed and all of that glass was melted by fire. So they've spent a lot of time trying to clear out the debris, rebuild back to somewhat of a standard that compares to how they used to have it, but they're not able to quite achieve the beautiful glass castle of before. This evening, in this castle, there is a ball going on, a charity ball for the Torre in Rifthold. The grand ballroom in the castle of Rifthold is a sight to behold, with its soaring ceilings adorned with intricate frescoes depicting scenes of royal splendor and mythical tales. Crystal chandeliers hang from above, casting a soft, warm glow over the room and illuminating the polished marble floors below. The walls are draped in rich tapestries of gold and crimson, adding a touch of elegance and luxury to the already opulent space. Tall windows line one side of the hall, offering a breathtaking view of the castle gardens and the moonlit courtyard beyond. At the far end of the ballroom, a raised dais is set up for the musicians who play soft melodies that fill the air and set the tone of the evening's festivities. The sounds of laughter and conversation mingle with the music, creating a lively and joyful atmosphere. Round tables covered in fine silk cloths are scattered throughout the room, each adorned with delicate floral centerpieces and sparkling goblets. Guests in their finest attire twirl and dance across the floor, their movements graceful and fluid as they revel in the magic of the evening. As the night sort of progresses on, the ballroom becomes a whirlwind of color and sound, with dancers spinning and twirling beneath the shimmering lights, creating a spectacle that is both mesmerizing and enchanting. It's a scene straight out of a fairy tale, a vision of beauty and elegance that captures the essence of grandeur and the romance of the castle of Rifthold. As you sort of look around the room, you see different things happening. You see where the musicians are playing, some people gathered around watching, dancing. Opposite of the dais of the musicians, on the other end of the room, is the dais for the royals, where King Holland and his wife sit waiting to address the crowd once everybody gets settled. Who do you think is first to arrive to these festivities?
I would say Delandra, because she needs to get in with the servants.
All right, Delandra. So it's sometime before the ball starts. You're coming in as a kitchen server for the catering for this evening's meal. When you get to the castle, are you already dressed in your uniform, or are you wearing something different?
I am already dressed in the uniform.
Okay. So you're led through the castle grounds and in through the servants' entrance on the side rather than the front doors. And you're taken down a set of stairs down through some damp sort of hallways into the kitchen where it's very warm. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. There are many meals, courses for meals being prepared. Roast beast, different vegetables, a giant goose, all kinds of stuff. What is the first thing you do when you get into the kitchen?
Well, I figured start setting up a tray that I might be able to carry around the party to serve hors d'oeuvres and appetizers and possibly drinks.
Which one would you rather serve, hors d'oeuvres or drinks?
Drinks. It's easier to poison.
All right, so you head over to the station where they have the hors d'oeuvres and the drinks set up, and there are others getting ready to get their trays and go out. They're kind of getting their trays filled up, placing the drinks nicely, grabbing stacks of napkins, putting different things of hors d'oeuvres on the main tray while carrying another stack of napkins underneath to hand out the food, so on and so forth. How many drinks do you think you attempt to put on your tray?
I'm going to say 8.
8? 8's an acceptable number. Fantastic. So you get your drinks. You
the
get
long stem glasses with the flutes and everything.
Yep. They're serving for cocktail hour. They're serving 2 different kinds of cordial. One, a sweeter cordial made of cherries to go along with one of the hors d'oeuvres that they're serving that's a little on the sweeter side. And they have another one that's more of a traditional kind of brandy-like cordial that's better paired with savory foods. Do you take one kind or both kinds on your tray?
4 of each. Absolutely.
4 of each.
Gotta have variety.
Fantastic. And do you sample any of the hors d'oeuvres or drinks while you're in there preparing your tray?
I mean, yes.
Okay. And as you're sort of pouring your drinks and getting them stacked on, and you reach over and you grab for one of the hors d'oeuvres, what do you go for, sweet or savory?
Savory.
So you pick up a little baguette sort of round of bread, and on top of it it's got tomatoes, prosciutto, some balsamic glaze, and like a little bit of garden greens on top to make it look pretty. What do they call them? Microgreens. They're fancy, right? And it's just a little bite-sized hors d'oeuvre that you could easily take a bite of. As you do this, do you try to do it where the cook doesn't see, or do you just reach over, pop it in your mouth, and call it a day?
I reach over, pop it in my mouth, and call it a day like I belong there. Because that's
all right, fantastic. Good. So you do that, and you grab your tray, and you head out. And you exit the kitchen, and there are others heading out as you head out. And so you kind of are able to follow them up, and they go through a series of twists and turns to go from the bowels of the castle up into the main floor where the grand hall is set up for the ball. And you're able to enter the ball where you see the decorations and the finery and such as described before. Who do you think is next to arrive?
Actually, probably Gus.
Okay. All right, Gus. So you're coming to this ball as a performer. You're coming in to play some music and have a good evening. You're in your first forays of adventuring again, and you heard about this opportunity, so you decided, why not? Why not capitalize on my skills while I'm out traveling anyways? So you arrive and you tell them at the front gate that you're here for the ball. You're one of the musicians, and they lead you in. They also take you in through the servants' quarters, but they don't take you down through the kitchen part. They take you a different way up and into the grand hall, and you come in kind of a back door, and they lead you right to the dais, and you see all the decorations and the finery. There's a couple of other musicians there, a small dance troupe, and then a small set of court jesters but not necessarily doing jokes or anything silly, more on like the acrobatics and dancing around, maybe doing a little bit of juggling, that sort of stuff. And there's a group of them there, and they're all separated by who their trope is, who they're working with, and so on. What do you do when you are led to this group?
The first thing Gus does is looks around and is just completely amazed and impressed with every single person. And he goes up to so many of them and just compliments them and says he's so proud of them, and he wish he could do something like that too.
Yeah, so you go right up to the dancers and the performers, and you tell them how proud of them you are, and that you wish that you were able to do the flips and the feats of acrobatics that they're doing, and so on and so forth. And they're very receptive of that. They're performers. They appreciate praise and compliments. So you feed right into their egos. Do you set up yourself, or what do you do to prepare to get ready?
Yeah, so I sit down, I start kind of tuning my instrument and kind of getting ready. And then as I'm, just getting prepared before things kind of begin, I kind of pull out a small necklace I have. And it has on the necklace, it has the kind of set of iron teeth that was my wife's for a long time. And I just kind of give it a kiss and put it back under my shirt and just kind of pat it on my chest and then smile, and then just keep getting ready and practicing.
Sure. And how does this necklace sort of look? Is it like just a cord, or like a leather cord, or like a hempen cord that has a little vial hanging from it that's full of the teeth? Or is it like chain link and each of the teeth are on a little ring, like a bead? How is it? What does it look
Sure.
like?
Yeah, it's definitely just it's just kind of like a leather kind of string, and then just wrapped around it is just the teeth that she had from her clan, and it's just kind of the whole row is right there together.
Just kind of right there, right on the string. It's just
under my shirt. So
perfect. And what instrument will you be playing this evening?
I'm going to be playing the lyre. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep, lyre.
I'll be playing the lyre. I like a lot of stringed instruments.
Wonderful. So you sit down, you find a seat there next to the dais, and there are several set up next to it. The same way you would kind of see chairs at a concert, like not a band concert, but like a orchestra or wind instrument sort of concert. They're kind of set up. There's some on the side there for the artists that are waiting for their turn. You find a seat, you sit down, and you pull out your necklace while you look around, and you take in the ambiance, and you're just looking at all of the finery around you. These aren't things that you're used to. And you probably really wish that your wife was here to experience such a beautiful thing with you. So you pull your necklace out, you hold it in your hand, you give it a kiss, and then you tuck it back in, and then you get back to, you come back to reality. You have your moment of nostalgia, and you come back to reality, and you sit and you start to tune your lyre. Who do you think shows up next?
I think as would come in maybe about an hour in. look around the room and make a plan to sort of work the whole room. Start on
Okay.
one side and just go through.
So you
she'll
just get cocktail hour together, right? You're coming in around the time that they're getting ready to do the opening ceremonies and such, because on your invitation there was a small itinerary that said cocktails being served for 2 hours beforehand, and then there's the opening ceremonies, and then the ball will progress, and there'll be some things here and there to raise extra funds. And you know that you're coming to represent the Torre. The Torre is big. It's something very helpful here in Rifthold. It's not something that they had access to before the big war 100 years ago. It was located in Antica in the southern continent, and it was something very special to Antica. And in no place in Erilea really had any sort of skills or abilities like the women at the Torre did. But when the war ended and Urine took over as the leader of the Torre, she said that she didn't want to go back to Antica, and she wanted to bring the healing of the Torre to Erilea. So she established the first one in Rifthold. After your years in Antica, they sent you to Rifthold, so that way you could prepare to come up into leadership and become one of the high healers rather than just an apprentice. So you're here as the representative of the Torre in the Rifthold, because you're pretty much at the top of the food chain there. You have people that you answer to, but pretty much everybody that works there answers to you. And so you're here as a representative. So you enter in after cocktail hour, right before the opening ceremony. And when you get in, you go right through the front of the castle. You're coming in the visitor's entrance. You're not here to work. And what are you dressed in? I think you mentioned earlier black sequins, but tell us a little bit more about what Azathoth looks like as she comes into the ball.
She's 5'8". She has her skin is kind of tan, so it's sun-kissed. She has amber-colored eyes, and her hair is black with kind of natural red highlights. Her dress is also black with a little bit of red in it around the collar, and she's wearing long sleeves that come up past her elbow, and she's in heels. I mean, she's here to work. She's here to work the room and get donations.
Yeah, so she's dressed really nice in this beautiful sequined gown. And you come right in, and you pass through the guards and everything and into the great hall. And you see there are several people congregated in the room already. It's not completely full, but the king and queen are there. Some of the other royals are there. The dukes and the duchesses. Most of them, not all of them, are there, but most of them. And then you have some of the lower royals from Ardalan, but then you also see some representatives from some of the other countries in Erilea, from Elway, Melisande, Ben Arrow, Dresden. Each of them has people sort of there. And so what do you do first? Where do you think you head first to schmooze? Do you think you go straight to the king and queen and do some sort of flourishing bow and say, hello, blah, blah, blah? Or do you think you find a group of lesser royals to lay it on to before?
My engineering brain outside a game would just want to start on one side and just work all the way over, but would there be some sort of hierarchy? I mean, would she be expected to go to the royals first?
Concentric circles.
I mean,
concentrical circles would work too. Or maybe chaotic, like a Roomba.
Yes.
Which corner are you getting stuck in? Which chair are you getting stuck under? I've got to pick one right now.
As a falls on the edge of a
Duke's chair.
cliff.
Directly under the Duke's chair.
Directly under a Duke's chair, right? So it's not necessary to go directly to the king and queen, but it is a sign of respect to go and pay your regards to them before you make your way. But you're your own person. You don't have to give a shit about their royal traditions and customs. You're not a royal. That's not your problem.
Well, I think she would want to do the right thing. So if she knows that she should go to the royals and say hi, basically, hi, I'm here, and pay her regards, I think she would go to King Holland. I think she would go to him up there and say hi to him and his queen if she's there, or anybody else that's up there, and then go work the room.
Okay, yeah. So you do that. You go up.
Yeah, she's there to work, and she did have to kind of shore herself up for interfacing with all these people, because she would rather be out in nature rather than there schmoozing. But she knows she has to make sure that there's money to train students to have ingredients for potions and so forth.
Sure. So you head up towards the dais, and there's a small line there of people coming up to pay their respects before they go on about your way. And there's probably 4 or 5 people in front of you. Some of them have somebody else with them, whether it's husband and wife or fiance and fiance, however they are, right? There's a couple of pairs of couples, and then there's some single individuals standing in line. And it seems to be very quick. People seem to go up, say a few words, do a bow first, because right, royalty and all that shit. Do a bow and then say a few words, and then head off through the room. It doesn't take too long, but it's about 10 or 15 minutes of your schmoozing time that you wait to get up there in the line. And you see, as you're waiting, there are people coming around with trays of drinks and trays of appetizers and things of the sort. Do you snag anything as it comes by you?
No, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Not yet.
So
Not
you're
yet.
waiting in line. You're waiting in line to meet with the royals, and you're probably a little palms sweaty, knees weak, arms feeling a little heavy because you're not really interested in all of this shenanigans, but you're there and you're ready.
Mom spaghetti.
Yeah, mom spaghetti, exactly right.
I'm literally typing it. Oh my god.
Yeah. All right. So as the fall's in line, Gus is preparing himself to perform. Delandra's delivering drinks. Who's next to arrive?
I would probably be right after. I can't. So I didn't really give a great physical description of our girl earlier. So I should do that now. She is an Earth Genasi. So she does have this kind of like more of like clay like skin. Not necessarily like rock kind of situations going on, but you can tell like she's pretty smooth all over. She doesn't look too out of place. But you can tell that she's definitely not like a normal like human or something.
Right.
So she's like 6 foot, give or take. She's wearing this gown, which she would never be caught dead in otherwise, because you can't have trains when you're working in a carpenter's shop or anywhere really, because why would I? And
It's caught in everything.
it's just everything. Yeah, no capes. But she's got them on right now. And it's like her guild colors of like an ashen color and burgundy.
Okay.
And there's like a train behind it, and she's wearing like little heels. She walks perfectly in them. It's fine. But she's there to represent her guild, so she'll have her like a little pin on her dress, and she has to be all social and everything, and she's not very charismatic, but she can try. But yeah, she's just there to schmooze as well. So she'll probably head right over to the Majesty's TM.
All right, so Elowen comes in, and she's in a gown that she would never, ever wear to anything else aside from this, and has decided that if she ever gets married, she's wearing pants because it's more comfortable and less likely to get nailed to a table. So you come in, dressed in your finery, you're wearing your guild badge there on your outfit. Is it on your cloak? Or is it directly on your dress?
So there's she also has a cape that's attached to these shoulders. She's got arm ribbons and stuff. I drew it. I don't know how to describe it very well. But she has the pin affixed to where all those fabrics come together. So it's more so like
a brooch or a
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. So you come in, you're representing your guild. You're a guild artisan. You're one of the leaders of your guild. You represent the carpentry division, which is why you're here, because you're a guild member in Rifthold. And so you head in, you come through the main doors as well, and you're led into this beautiful ballroom. And then once you're led in, your little server that led you in kind of heads off. You see there is a small line there at the dais where the royals are. There are people passing drinks and hors d'oeuvres, performers getting ready, people already sitting at their tables, some mingling, so on and so forth. You go straight to the line, or do you grab a drink? Do you grab something to eat? How does it go when you get in there?
I grab a drink.
Okay. And do you grab something that's better paired with sweet or better paired with savory?
Savory.
Yeah, so it's a nice brandy-like cordial. It's just kind of like brandy or cognac in the flavor. Just a little hint of sweetness as well.
Okay.
And it's served in a little flute, and you grab it from a tray of a passing server, and you notice that this passing server, as well as being drow, has some genasi-like features to them. And you haven't seen a whole ton of genasi. You know they exist in the land, but you've not met any others as far as you're aware of.
Many facial piercings.
I mean, that's not unusual. I think she'll just clock it for now and kind of keep it to herself. But if she gets the chance to interact again, she's going to.
Yeah, so she just makes a mental note that, hey, there's a server that's a genasi. I might conversate with them later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get in line, and you end up in line right behind Azathal, who you probably haven't met before, but you might recognize as a member of the Torre in the way that she's dressed as well. She's wearing a very nice dress, but her cape or cloak, her outer covering of her dress also shows the symbol of the Torre on it. It's an owl that represents the Torre. A beautiful silver, embroidered owl there on her cape. Do you engage in conversation, or do you quietly wait in line?
Oh no, I'll talk to her. I'll just tap, tap, tap. I'm terrible at being excuse me. I'll tap on her shoulder and be like, hey, I've always wanted to meet you. Sorry, I'm Elwyn. You can call me whatever you want. I'm from, God bless America. The same place you are. Where is that name? I wrote it down.
Call me whatever you want.
Antica?
Antica, yeah.
Antica, yes. Antica.
I was born there. I grew up there and came here, and I remember hearing about you when the move happened. And I always supported it. I thought it would be an honor to meet you.
As would I'm trying to think of how to explain it. She would be engaged in the conversation. I mean, she would be happy to meet you. I mean, she's there to be social, so she would she would say something like, yeah, I spent a lot of time in Antica, not just at the Torre, but she spent a lot of time in town. Much of her family still lives there, so she would tell you that she still has a lot of family that escaped the war that still lives in Antica, and we probably know the same people because she spent so much time there. She spent about 100 years there.
She's just like, you know Jerry, the Jerry with the weird beard, that guy, you know him? Everybody knows Jerry. Like, we find some random mutual person that we've both seen at least once. We're like, oh, common ground. This is great.
And,
yeah, you talk about who Azathoth actually treated when he cut his thumb off when he was trying to saw some wood at the guild to make a new table. And so she's the one that actually came in and treated that. Yeah. There was a new stain on the wood, very close to cherry or mahogany, but just like a little more rusty, and not really something that the guild wanted to employ in their future wood staining tactics. But hey, it worked out for what it was needed for, right?
Yeah, no, it passed. It's cool.
An iron-rich stain.
Yeah, it's just a little extra pizzazz. It's fine.
Yeah, wonderful. So you two are in line. You're having a little chit chat. The line's moving fairly slow, slower than it probably should be if you're not somebody that likes to partake in this sort of thing. Who do you think enters the party next? Eli or Portia?
Probably Eli. He definitely needs to get there and like start similarly schmoozing and like, you know, trying to sell off some merchandise, trying to get people interested.
Wonderful. And what is Eli dressed in this evening? What sort of finery is Eli wearing as another representative of the Crafters and Merchants Guild? What do you think that you're wearing?
I think Eli would be wearing. I mean, Eli's usually pretty well dressed, as like being like half the face of his family's merchant group. So he's always kind of dressed nicely, but knowing that this is like a royals ball and stuff like that, he had it very much so drilled into them that they have to step it up. So that I think that they'd be wearing like they'd probably be still wearing regularly nice clothes, but just like a nice like vest over the top of it, or something that would probably catch people's eye, but not too eye-catching.
Yeah, so maybe some silk that you have for your sale, and maybe some of that nice blue crushed velvet that you just got in last week that you had somebody make you a pair of pants on. Yeah, wonderful. So you're dressed really nice, and in the fabrics and things that you're wearing are all fabrics that can be purchased from you and your family as merchants, and it's a great way to advertise because you're around all of these fancy pants royals who probably have nothing but money to spend, right? And so you enter the ball as a guest through the front, and you are brought into the grand hall there, and there's people all around. There's a small line at the dais for people who are waiting to make introduction to the royals. There are servers bringing around hors d'oeuvres. A band has already started to play just something light, just some light cocktail music. We're towards the end of cocktail hour as it is. Do you grab something to drink? Do you find a seat? Do you wait in line? What does Eli do as they come in here?
I think Eli probably grabs a drink on the way.
Sweet.
He definitely wants to drink something to help with
the nerves,
being
right?
there. Yeah.
Do you think he goes the sweeter or the more savory of the drinks?
Definitely sweeter. Definitely big sweet tooth.
All right, so you pick up this glass, this beautiful crystal fluted glass, and it's about 3/4 of the way full of this bright red liquid. And when you sniff, you get a hint of red currant and cherry and just a little bit of tartness in there. And you take a sip, and it is the perfect dessert drink.
Oh, immediately downs it. Immediately.
Drinks the whole thing? Does he grab another
Drinks
one?
the whole thing. Yeah, definitely grabs another one to just like sip this time and like really savor the taste.
Yeah, so Eli grabs a drink, tastes it, and before the server heads off, and Eli really realizes that they like this drink, downs the whole thing, puts the glass down, grabs another one.
Yep.
Perfect. And does Eli get in line to meet the royals, or does he?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you come up and you get in the line, and you're right behind. Well, somebody who's not here anymore, but you're right behind Elowin when you get in line. And you recognize Elowin's brooch as a guild brooch. The merchants and the crafters sort of work together because they need each other for sales and money and things like that. So you would recognize Elowin, maybe somebody you've met in passing or in group conversations, but never somebody you've done one-on-one business with. And then Azethal, you might recognize Azethal. That'll be, you could decide if you wanted to try to recognize her, or maybe she's somebody that you're not super familiar with because you are from Erilea, the continent in itself, and not from the southern continent, more specifically the city of Antica. So
Right.
that'll be. I'll leave that up to you if you want to try to see if you know who they are or not. You could roll a history or insight or something, whatever you feel is appropriate. If you wanted to try to recognize her,
I do want to try to recognize her.
yeah, go for it. So whichever one you think is most appropriate for your character's recollection of knowledge, whether it's a personal insight, a history check, maybe a perception to study her appearance, however you want to go about it.
I think I'm gonna try and do history.
Okay, wonderful.
I rolled a 7.
A 7. So as you sort of look at the woman that's speaking with Elowin, her face draws a bit of familiarity to you, but maybe not in like familiarity of somebody you've spoken with or seen personally, but you've seen a poster here or a poster there, you know.
Right.
Nobody who you really know. Do you want to engage in conversation with them, or do you just mind your business and stay in line?
I think at that moment they would probably just clock them and be like, okay, interesting, and just keep going.
Wonderful. So you get in line and you let them engage in their conversation, and you wait. Right within the last 10, 15 minutes of the pre-planned cocktail hour, you see some people sort of get up that are sitting on either side of the door. And as they get up, walking through the door, you see a gentleman who you all probably do recognize. He's the grandson of the current king and the Duke of Maya. This is Damon Palavar. And on his arm is a beautiful woman. She's dressed in, what is she dressed in, Portia?
I brought visual aids.
she's dressed in beautiful artwork dress here.
Yeah, so she is, because my artistic skills are lacking. So imagine a little bit of Lady Danbury from Bridgerton, except blues instead of reds. So a little bit of like Regency going on. A little bit of like that amazing red dress in Ever After, and then some amazing bishop sleeves because I am obsessed with bishop sleeves. But it definitely kind of is in 2 layers, and that is important. So like there's bits on the sides that are a separate layer than like the underdress. And if you talk to any of the dressmakers in town, Portia has very specific dress requirements that are a little odd, but she pays them well, so they don't ask too many questions. The underdress is actually split on the sides under the overdress where you can't see it, so that she can run if she has to.
Okay.
Yeah, her jewelry is fashionable but understated. Her hair is done up, and she's I didn't give a physical description earlier. So she's an Air Genasi. So her skin is sort of light blue with some like white sort of feathery patterns. I think my thingy is too small to be able to see that, but anyway, so sort of white feathery patterns. Her eyes are very, very light gray, not quite white. There is a little bit of color in them, and her hair is white. It's done up really nice. She's pretty short. She's only 5'3". But Huli, if I recall, her date is a gnome. So she's definitely not wearing heels. So anyway, that's Portia. She very definitely, she doesn't stand, I mean, she stands out because of who she's with, but like, she very definitely looks like these are her people. She looks comfortable. Like she looks like this is exactly where she belongs. This is her particular fish tank.
Yeah, he is a gnomish man. He's dressed in the colors of House Halvard, which is quite contrasting with the blues and the creams of Portia's dress, but she still looks wonderful. He's just a little difficult because his initial
colors, it's awful.
His initial plan was they were going to match, and he gave her the color scheme because he's been quite taken with her as of late and been spending a bit more time with her. So he thought, well, maybe we could match. But then at the last minute, he did not definitely match. He decided to go for the very opulent, very outspoken red with the blue sash across his chest, the knee-high leather boots with the white pants, and the very fancy mid-waist belt thing, which I have no effing idea what it's called because I'm
Cummerbund.
Not. There you go, that. And he's
banned.
He is dressed very, very much like a royal, and he heads in with Portia on his arm, and he sort of, as you enter Portia, he sort of pats you on the hand and tells you he'll meet up with you shortly, and makes his way off to where his parents are seated next to the king and queen to go and do whatever prince-like duties he needs to go do. As you are left standing in that location, as he sort of walks away and leaves you, you're able to survey the room and pick out many faces that you know. You are consistently schmoozing and rubbing elbows with the royalty, unlike a majority of the others here. And you recognize several of them, the dukes and the ladies. You know a lot of things about a lot of these people, things that they probably don't want you to know, or things that maybe aren't even true, but that sort of circulate.
There's alcohol flowing tonight, so yeah, I'm going to do a brisk business.
Wonderful. Are you grabbing something to drink as you kind of look around the room?
Yes.
You recognize the server as they sort of make their way towards your direction. Delandra is approaching you with this tray of drinks, and she doesn't have very many left on there. Just 2 left. The rest are empty glasses or nothing there at all. There's 1 sweet, 1 savory left.
I'm going to grab one of the savory ones.
Mm-hmm.
But before I grab it, I mean, are there a whole bunch of people like in close, like within earshot of us?
Not necessarily where you are, as you're sort of like
towards the entrance, right?
Yeah, you're right towards the entrance. There's tables out, but most everybody is up towards the dais and such, where they're intermingling. People that are near you are probably 10 to 15 feet on either side away, so out of whispered earshot. But if you were to speak loudly or something, they might be able to hear you. But it is a fairly loud place. So
Okay. So I will sort of make hand gestures and as if I'm vacillating on which drink to pick and talking to Delandra so that from the outside it looks as though I'm asking for a recommendation on which one's better, right? So doing things with my hands that don't make any sense with what's actually coming out of my mouth. And I'm just going to... are you doing all right, dear, so far? No trouble getting in or anything? Yo, Delandra, talking to you.
Great.
Did you have any trouble getting in? Everything so far going smoothly?
No problems thus far. Grabbed a few drinks. Waiting to get into place.
All right. Remember, this is not the sort of thing where we can just poke holes if it goes badly. So,
Yes. And a handkerchief can't clean up all the blood, I know.
Also, he's second in line to the throne, so I think people get to notice if he suddenly doesn't exist anymore.
I mean, yes. I understand.
Lovely. I'm going to be making my way around. If you have something delicious and or food or anything else, come find me. Also, you look lovely, dear. That's an excellent color on you.
Like always is. And I show her the tray full of drink that I have.
I will pick the savory one finally and stop with the random hand motions.
yeah, wonderful. So you do this sort of thieves' cant with your hands to make conversation between the two of you. And after you decide on your drink, you pick it up, you give a nod, and you head your separate directions. Where does Portia make her way to? Straight to the group of royalty sitting around talking? There's a couple of ladies that you would recognize that you could go right up to. Or do you wait in line at the dais to meet the king?
Portia is steeped, marinated in the social customs of this place. So I think she would know that you go and acknowledge the highest ranking person in the room first. So yeah, she will join the queue.
Join the queue, yeah. So about the time you get into line, you come up right behind Eli in line, and Azathoth is now in front of the king and queen. The king and queen are Holland and Clepsandra. Holland is a human man, and Clepsandra is a gnomish woman from Melisande. So that is why Damon, the young prince, was a gnome, as well as Donovan, the heir apparent, the next in line, Donovan Halivard, and his wife, Chloe, she is also a gnome. So they're sitting up on the dais in their respective places as well. And Azathoth, you're there. You're in front of the king. What do you say?
I say hi. And thank him for hosting this party, and hopefully this fundraiser will be successful, and wish him a good day.
Wonderful. And so you say hello, you tell him thank you, and he smiles at you. He's very much yes-anding and nodding and such. He's been talking to a lot of people. There's hundreds of people here, and a majority of them have come to say hello. And after you finish and tell him have a good day, he says, Lady Azathoth, your seat is over here at this table. And he points to a table to his right that you didn't know you were going to be sitting at, and it's raised up just a little bit, not as high as the dais where they're sitting, but just it's raised up just a little bit. And there are a couple of others sitting there. It is the table for the guests of honor, and there is a place setting for the young Prince Damon there as well. And you see there's a little tinted name place card at your seat, set on your plates. The preset tables, of course, with the fine china and the fancy gold silverware and all of that. And there's one over there tinted with your name on it. Your full name, the whole long, terribly hard to pronounce one.
All right, she will head over there.
Wonderful. So you head right to your table. Elowen, you're next in line. You come up in front of the king.
I bow deeply and come back up and just say, Your Majesties, thank you. And I hope you enjoy your evening. I just wanted to pay my respects. And she'll swiftly get up and start to walk away, if they acknowledge her, at least.
Yeah, they
how deeply I bow. Okay.
They tell you thank you and to have a good evening and such, you know. Typical niceties of saying, you know, like hello, thank you, yada yada. So you're able to head off. There's a table not too far from where Azathoth is sitting, but it's not raised, it's flat on the floor. It's a long table, and there are several other faces there you recognize, other guild leaders and such. And then there are other tables all about that have the various other ball goers. Do you go to the guild where you see a majority of the guild members congregating, or do you find some other place to put yourself?
I go see my friends, because I consider them friends at this point.
Yeah, so you head right over, you find a seat, and you sit down. Eli, you are next in line to greet the king and queen. If you're talking to me, you're muted. All right, well, Eli greets the king and queen as well, and we'll have the same option as Elowen to join the other guild members or to go on about their business. Portia, you're one of the last in line. You come up before the king and queen. What do you say and do when you get up there?
I will do the most well-executed curtsy you have ever seen. Exactly as low as is socially appropriate. And, come back up and just, sort of give a little nod. And, Your Majesties, a pleasure as always.
And then they tell you thank you, and you go to walk away, and you notice that there's no place setting for you at the table where Damon will be. What table do you go to? Which one of the courtly royals do you search out to go sit with?
Would I have known that was going to be the case beforehand, or is this a surprise?
It's sort of one of those things that's right in the middle there. Like, as his date, you would think that you would be sat with him, but you're in court a lot. You know the contention that exists between Damon, his father, and grandfather, because he is a 26-year-old royal who is not married. And that's a problem for them because he is heir in line to the throne. He's meant to be married, making his own heirs, and he's not. He's specifically been dodging it like dodging the draft. So
and he's here with me.
Yes.
The very opposite of a prospective wife.
Exactly that. So you would think that he expected you to sit with him, but it looks like the powers that be are very pointedly making a case that he feels and knows that he is unwed and does not have a lady wife to be sitting there with the guest of honor with him.
Okay, so this is about him, not me.
Yeah, it's very cutthroat, Game of Thrones shenaniganry.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, well then, again, sort of like with the king and queen, I will sort of make my way around the room to the people that I know, specifically in order of descending rank. And then just sort of stay as long as I can maintain a sparkling conversation.
Yeah, so you would go to Donovan and Chloe next, which is the next king and his wife, and then around the room to the other dukes and duchesses and such. Which ones do you think you finalized to sit on with, knowing that it's almost time for the shindig to start?
I would sort of choose like half on location to make sure I've got a good view of everything in the room, because this is not just a social event, and a good view of the door. But then after that, I imagine there are several tables that meet that criteria. I will probably find a spot at a table where there are some mid-rank courtiers that are around my age, if possible. And other than that, I'm not super picky. Portia is a chameleon when it comes to socializing. She can literally carry on a conversation with anybody. But if she can find somebody who's around her age that she would have like hung out with at court, that would be perfect.
Yeah, so you find yourself at a table, at a seat in between the Duchess of Morath and Lord Marcus, who is a minor noble. And the reason that you settled yourself next to Lord Marcus is some of the rumors that have been
looking that up on my phone.
Yeah, some of the rumors that have been circulating, as you sort of are in business mind, like you're in work mode. You're thinking about your agenda and what has brought you here and what you're doing. Lord Marcus is sort of the perfect mark for you to sit and flounce it up with.
I only had time to skim your list of rumors because I was making myself pretty. But I see that now, and yes, absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
Lord Marcus for sure.
Lord Marcus and then the Duchess of Morath sit.
Are they married or not?
They're not.
They're separate people.
Of Morath is young. She is the youngest of the dukes and duchesses. This is Hyacinth Rampier. She is the distant cousin to Caltaine Rampier, who was a big part of the shenanigans that happened with the previous king during the wars involved with the Vogue and such. She was a courtier. She was brought to court at a young age, and the Duke Parrington was completely infatuated and enamored with her. So she was at one point the most well-respected lady at court before everything happened. This is her cousin, her very young cousin, Hyacinth, who is only the Duchess because of an accident where her family had all passed, but she was in boarding school. She's only around 14, 15, like Sansa Stark's age.
Okay.
And so you find yourself between her and Lord Marcus.
And if they were sitting together, I definitely would have tried to like insinuate myself between them because she is very young and there are rumors that he's skeezy. So
yeah, absolutely. So there's a chair between them, an open chair there. And it's kind of sat off to the side Lord Marcus has his foot up, kind of dangling across it. Very not mindful, very not demure, the exact opposite of that. It's very uncouth, the way he's got his legs draped up. Like, he looks entirely too comfortable for a soiree of this magnitude. And
when I pull my chair out to sit, I will like raise my eyebrow at his foot. Like, I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm gonna make a face about it.
Yeah, you're gonna give him like a pointed glare, right? Like, excuse me, who the fuck are you? Get your foot off my chair, sort of thing.
Not like this is my house, get your foot off my coffee table, but like, read the room, dude.
Right.
This is not the sort of place where you put your foot on the table.
Right. Okay. So yeah, you pull it out, and he's not super old, but he's also not super young. He is older than Damon is. He's right around 30, 32-ish, so just a little bit older. And as you sort of pull the chair out, he puts his leg down, and he's, "Oh, Lady Portia, how wonderful to see you. Please have a seat." You know, and it's very exaggerated and sort of sarcastic, kind of undercutting behind the politeness that it should be.
Have we taken leave of our manners tonight?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Have we taken leave of our manners tonight, my lord?
Well, not necessarily. I just want to get this show on the road. I have other things I'd rather be attending to than charity homes. Sort of like an attitude of this is beneath him. He doesn't care about it, but you know, he's here to save face.
I don't really know what to say to that.
So maybe you don't say anything. Maybe you just take your seat.
And yeah, I'll sort of turn to Lady Mora. What is it, Mora? Yeah. On my other side, and sort of start like fussing about her dress and like how pretty her jewelry is, and yeah, she's a 14-year-old girl. She needs this shit.
Yeah, she's very bright-eyed. Her hair is beautiful, and it's in curls, and she wears a very puffy sort of ball gown with the cute little sleeves. Not like the 80s shoulder pad puffy sleeves, but like the cute Cinderella dress kind of puffy sleeve sort of thing. And she engages in conversation with you. If you're talking to her about her dress and how pretty she looks, she's eating that up. She's a young duchess in a court full of sharks, you know. So I'm
not saying I'm not one, but I'm gonna be nice to a 14-year-old girl.
Right, of course. Yeah, so you sit down, and everybody's sort of seated and arranged to where they're meant to be. And the king stands. And
at some point before this, like during either of these two conversations, before like shit starts happening, I will make sure to make eye contact with both Delandra and with Damon, so that they both know where I am, since I am not physically with either of them.
Yeah, and Damon, when he gets to his seat, he's got a scowl on his face. He's got the look of somebody who was just scolded in a room full of people when he's trying to maintain appearances, and he's annoyed. You can tell he's very, very clearly annoyed. And Delandra,
I'll just kind of give him a little toast with the look of, I know and I'm sorry.
Delandra, you would have went off to take the tray down when the drinks were empty and such, and you would be still in the kitchen about this time, preparing to bring out the trays of food and such for the dinner to commence. But when you come up, you'll be able to find Portia. I'm sure you two are looking for each other to keep kind of on location with each other and such. And as everybody gets settled and you get to the very end of the cocktail hour, and almost exactly on time, the king stands up, he takes a glass, and he does the whole ting, ting, ting thing to get people's attention. The room kind of quiets, and he goes into his opening ceremony speech. My esteemed lords and ladies, honored guests, and beloved citizens of Rifthold, it is with great pleasure and gratitude that I welcome you all to this grand charity ball. a night of celebration and unity in support of a noble cause. As we gather here tonight in the splendor of our castle, we come together not only to revel in the joy of the evening, but also to lend our hearts and hands to those in need. Tonight we gather to raise funds for the Torre Sesme, a place of healing and hope for the people of Rifthold. The Torre has long been a sanctuary for those seeking solace and comfort in times of illness and suffering. It is a beacon of light in the darkness, a place where the healing powers of magic and medicine come together to offer aid and relief to those in need. But the Torre cannot fulfill its mission alone. It relies on the generosity and compassion of our community to continue its vital work, to provide care and support for those who are most vulnerable and in need of healing. Tonight, as we dance and feast in this grand ballroom, let us remember the importance of coming together as one, of standing in solidarity with our fellow citizens, and lending our support to those who need it most. I am humbled and honored to see the generosity and kindness of our people on display tonight as we come together to raise these funds. Your contributions, no matter how big or small, will make a difference in the lives of those who rely on the healing touch of the Torre Sesme. Together, we can make a positive impact. We can bring hope and healing to those who need it most. So let us raise our glasses, let's raise our voices, and let us raise our hearts in support of the Torre Sesme. May this night be a testament to the strength and compassion of our community, and may the light of our generosity shine bright in the darkness, bringing hope and healing to all who seek it. Thank you, and may this evening be a night to remember, filled with joy, love, and the spirit of giving. Long live Rifthold. And then everybody does their drink, and he sits down, and the ball sort of commences. Music picks up. Gus, you're second in line to perform. They're doing like the opening. There's a small band doing the opening performances, and the dancers and the performers sort of make their way down the center of the hall where the two tables are separate. There's two sets of tables separated, and then the aisle where people will dance and so on is there in the middle. And they roll around and so on. I'm just reading the back chat now.
Hee
And so there's a band playing. The performers come out. Servers come up from the basement and start, well, from the downstairs. I'm not the basement, the kitchen. Is what I'm trying to say. And they start bringing up food, and they bring up first course, like salads and such first. And there are goblets in front of you and pitchers of wine and such already on the table. There's red and white wine on the table. There's no offering of any meats or hard liquors or anything at this time. It's just red and white wine. And they bring up, all of that stuff. And the evening starts. You're able to mix and mingle. And Coors Light would be great, wouldn't it? They bring it up and the food is served on the tables and such. And you're able to mix and mingle and spend some time at your tables doing whatever fancy folks do at fancy balls and fancy dinners. Before the performers finish, the band finishes, and Gus, now you are up, and people are going to be starting to dance. What kind of song do you think it is that Gus decides to play when he gets up there on the stage by himself?
I think it's definitely something pretty folksy. He's kind of he's pretty kind of like country for the most part, and so just probably some type of like little fun song that I think it's possible that other people kind of know as well. It's just something that makes everybody kind of feel good, some type of like a little story like that.
And not a folks to give.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah, so like a very folk art style song, kind of happy, like a little where you could do a little jig, kind of like playing the banjo on the porch sort of thing, but a little more classy. I think a little more classy than that because of your location. Go ahead and roll me a performance for this. And since it's if this is your weapon, or not your weapon, but your instrument of proficiency, make sure you add your bonus to it.
Okay, yep. Pretty good. It's a 24.
24, fantastic.
I think even Gus is impressed with
You
himself right
probably
now.
get some,
Because he's not that good usually.
yeah, you probably get some looks from people of higher society that are around. It's not the music that they were expecting. They're expecting string instruments and just, very light and elegant and such. But this is very upbeat, very happy, very danceable, right? And you're an older gentleman up there by yourself. You're probably one of the least fancily dressed as well. And you just start playing, and they're surprised because they're not expecting this silly music in their eyes to be so good. And they start to kind of tap their feet along, and people get up and start dancing. There were some that started dancing immediately, some of the more lower born, base born individuals. And even some of the servants are a little happy and excited because it's just like music from home rather than what they're used to being around. So it's sort of a different kind of happy that rolls through the crowd. The lower folks feel happy first, and they're not used to that. Usually it's royalty first and then the common folks, but they feel happy about this. They feel represented, like they have a piece here. And so, yes.
Delandra's gonna try to stick around the act like the server that's around the king's table to try to listen in as much as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. You could roll some perceptions to hear if you would like to, see if you can get any good secrets or such. But Gus, this performance turns out really, really well for you. How many songs do you think you have prepared for this evening in your set? Do you think you're doing just a one and done initial piece, or do you think you're playing a couple of songs? How do you think you're going tonight?
I think he's probably got like 3 in him. Because he definitely, he's kind of older guy, so he can kind of wear himself out. And I think seeing everyone getting so excited has like kind of even brought like a little tear to his eye. And so he's like putting in a little extra effort. And so he kind of almost tuckers himself out a little bit.
It's time for his nap.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you do that. You do 3 songs. They're all really, really good with your 24 performance. And it lasts some time, and it gives people a time to dance, a chance to dance. And then when you're done, it's the string quartet that's going to now play more dinner music because they're now serving full courses. Delandra, you're hearing different bits and pieces and snippets of conversation as you sort of serve. What are you really focusing on? Like, who is your main priority to kind of listen to, or what information is the most pertinent to you? Do you think it's small gossips, any bit of information you can get, or you're really trying to pinpoint out things that are more like business dealings or shady interactions, so on and so forth?
Anything to do with the person I was charged here to look into, that Duke.
The Duke of Maya, the Prince Damon. So he's off
Yes.
slightly to the side there. Okay. He's over by Azethal. And as you're sort of listening around, I think the one thing that stands out to you the most is you hear a couple of whispers. That Lord Marcus seems to be making a lot of deals behind closed doors lately. I wonder what he's up to. I think that stands out to you the most.
Okay. And when Delandra gets a chance, she'll try to subtly thieves' cant that to Portia.
Sure. Go ahead and give me. Why don't both of you do this, since it's a skill that you should both be proficient in? give me a stealth for the evening's communications, since things are more settled in and people are more focused in on the things close around them.
22.
What'd you say?
22.
Okay, 22 is wonderful.
And I have a 19.
19. Fantastic. So both of you are able to sort of stealthily communicate throughout the night. Portia, I know you're probably listening in to try to see what kind of things you can hear, what sort of gossips and such.
At some point, I need at least one dance with Mr. Feet on the coffee table.
Okay.
Once he's had a couple of drinks, I think, and has, like, pulled the stick out of his ass a little bit.
Yeah, I think when you got there, he was starting to tie one on already. So he was in that sort of bastard phase when you first are annoyed and getting a little drunk. He wasn't quite loosey-goosey yet. But about the time that dinner is finished, he's drank about 2 pitchers of wine to himself. So he's feeling it. He's ready. He's a stout man. So he holds his
ready.
Good
I'm
God.
ready to have my feet stepped on for the cause.
They're not huge pitchers. They're not huge. They're just like small, meant to fill a wine glass about a quarter of the way full. And he's filling them full to the top. So he's taking 3 or 4 servings per glass there, filling in instead. So it's not a huge pitcher, but he's consumed quite a bit. They're only about halfway full as they sit on the table at their fullest capacity.
Yeah, so once he has relaxed a little bit and his inhibitions are down a little bit, that is my sweet spot. And I will... is he still kind of moody, or is the wine kind of relaxing him a little bit?
Oh, he's like, it's flowing through him very well. Like, he's chilled out. He's being more boisterous and out there and doing the laughy frat boy sort of thing.
Okay. Another question. Is Damon the type who is going to be mad if he sees me dancing with somebody else?
I don't know. Why don't you roll some dice to find that out? Insight.
Insight. Okay.
Do a roll about it, yeah.
Do a roll about it. Boo, not that great. 12.
Yeah.
12.
You said 12?
He said 12.
Yeah, so a 12 really doesn't tell you a 100% yes or no, but you could use your own courtly knowledges and abilities to kind of figure out that, as pissy as he appears to be, you probably don't want to do much to really push him this evening, because you've seen him have a temper before. So your thought is, maybe I'll dance with Damon and then I'll go on about my business. And when I'm dancing with him, I'll feel it out. Okay. Say, oh, so-and-so asked me to dance, but I wanted to check with you first to make sure that you're okay with it, sort of thing,
Okay.
In whatever sort of honey-laced words that you would use.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to be that direct about it. Okay. Then I will make my way over to his table. And see if I can cheer him up a little bit.
In passing, you hear some chatter from a couple of the ladies. Lady Serafina is with Lady Jane and Lady Genevieve, and they're doing that hush-hush little whispery thing. And as you go past, you hear one of them say that, they say, have you heard the rumors about the Duchess of Morath's influence over the king? They say she's the one pulling the strings behind the throne.
This is the same 14-year-old girl from my table earlier, yeah?
Yes, this is the 14-year-old girl rumored to be a powerful sorceress who controls the minds of the king and his advisors, manipulating them to do her bidding.
Great. Okay.
We're not giving that one a ton of credence right now. But okay, so that's nothing new. Okay, yeah, continue on to the friends, special people table. Yeah, absolutely. Azathoth, you've been sitting up at the table as a guest of honor, and you're sitting with the royals. A majority of these folks are royals, but they're the younger royals. You're sitting with the son of the next king. You're sitting next to Damon Halivard. He's a young gnomish man. He is rumored to be kind of a shithead, but he's a young prince, so, princeling things. You're also sitting with some of the other grandchildren of kings and queens and such, all related. You've got Rhiannon Blackbeak at the table with you. You've got Callum of Briarcliff at the table with you. You've got another Blackbeak, Ainsley, at the table with you. Just those couple of folks. They're doing what, they're not like super, super young. They're all above the age of 18, but they're the young generation, the next generation of leaders, right? And they're all sort of up there. So you're a little out of place. These aren't people you normally hang out with, but you could be up there making small talk, or do you immediately hit the dance floor as soon as the Flossie tunes start to hit?
She does like to dance. But she would make small talk. I mean, before the music started, she would make small talk, but she would gear it towards asking them about how is their healthcare in their community, in their neck of the woods. I don't know if they live in Riffold or if they have ties back home, but she's just kind of probing just to find out how they feel things are with their healthcare in their neck of the woods.
Yeah, so Rhiannon and Callum are on the west side of Erilea. They're out in the Western Waste and Briarcliff, and those aren't places where you have been able to expand the Torre in Erilea yet. You've got the one in Rifthold, that was the original. There's a brand new one that was just built in Teresin. That's the next one. But in the last 100 years, it's taken a lot of time to build the first one, let alone get the second one. About 50 years apiece. So you haven't quite gotten that far. But they'll converse with you about it. They'll talk to you and talk about how excited that they are. And they'll probably lean on you a little bit to try to get you to put them sort of next in the ways of building the next Torre. And this is all the way on the Western Waste. The Briarcliff is in the Western Waste. It's just the human kingdom and settlement that's there. They work hand in hand with the witches who have reclaimed the Western Waste as well. One of them is a witch. Rhiannon Blackbeak is a witch of those witches there. So they have some magic, but not the healing skills that the Torre can provide. So they're going to lean on you a little bit and try to get you to put a rush on them being able to be next in line to get the Torre built over there.
All right, yeah, that's good. She can't promise that, but she definitely will see if she can send like an envoy or something to sort of probe and see what their needs are and what the resources are. Maybe make connections with the Druid community or some other healing community over there.
So as they kind of talk to you about it, they kind of lean towards setting up a logistics meeting with you to get your envoys out, like when they're going to come, what they need when they get there, so on and so forth. So they want to set up a meeting with you, and they'll ask you, when do you think the best time to meet is? Is your schedule extremely busy, or do you have time in the next couple days when they're still in town to maybe have brunch or something?
Does she have time? What would I roll to know if I've got time?
Maybe insight to know what your schedule's looking like,
Inside. Okay.
or you could do a history if you're better at that to kind of try to recall in the moment your calendar.
All right, 21. Would she know her calendar with 21?
I mean, yeah, you probably would. That's over a 20. You're only at level 1, so that's a really decent skill roll for you.
All right. Yeah.
Probably-
I mean, she's yeah. She all right. She'll schedule them in and see what she can do. I mean, it's a big commitment to build something out there. Maybe something smaller, but I don't know what resources.
Maybe send a small contingent of healers to go and open a small healing house or work out of one of their current healing houses until you could erect a tower there. But yeah, it's a fairly decent conversation. They're very polite to you. They don't have that sort of stuck up, snobby attitude that you're used to from the Royals in Rifthold. You can definitely tell that they're raised under a different pretense than the kids here. Because you've dealt with them, you've helped heal the Royals. You all of them, all of the generations that are around. You're an elf. You've been around the last 100+ years. You've seen them come and go, and so on. So you're kind of used to the stuck up. But these kids seem very humble in the way that they communicate with you, and they're very respectful to you. And yeah, and then the conversation. Do you dance at all this evening, or do you think you stay put at your table? Or
She'd want to dance. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have your conversation, then you get up to go dance. Elwyn, what are you doing? You have dinner. You're not really in the quote unquote important group of people for the evening, but you're around all of your friends that you're used to working with. You're on a nice break with them. You know, you're not actually all working. You're in a casual, comfortable setting. Well, kind of casual, more casual than being in the office, of course, but it's still a ball or whatever. Do you think that you sit at the table and just chop it up with your friends, or do you think you get up and partake in the dancing and the revelry and so on?
I think after a couple of glasses of cordial, she'll definitely go out there. Because she's just feeling like, yeah, this is good. This is a nice little break. I can go, like, hang out with other people. And she also thinks it's going to look good, at least, to everyone else that she's participating socially.
Yeah, not be a fly on the wall or whatever.
Yeah. And she'll probably end up trying to get one of her friends to come with her, who've definitely all teased her about wearing a dress, because she doesn't wear dresses. But she's very pretty. She secretly likes it, but she won't tell anyone. Dancing in it is slightly difficult, but she tries.
Yeah, so you go out to the dance floor, and Azathal's out there. Portia's out dancing with Damon and Gus. You are here as a performer. You've done your performance. You're able to eat, and maybe you could squeeze in a little dancing. What do you think you do? Do you think you just stay off to the side, or do you think you just get right in there and dance with them too, whether you were technically invited or not?
The answer. As soon as everyone else is getting excited, he's just having a good old time too. He's kind of got like only one or two moves, so it's kind of like the little shuffle the whole time. But he's enjoying it so much.
Wonderful. So he just gets
I
up
love
and
how
goes.
Joe and I have the exact same old man dance. There is only one.
There can only be one.
All right. Delandra, you serve dinner. Desserts are served after, and it's dancing time. And you don't technically work for these people. You're here on a job, sort of undercover as a servant. Do you think you continue on with servant duties, or do you think you try to slip off into the crowd to worry about other duties?
I like your idea better. I'm gonna go ahead and slip off and like set a tray down somewhere and then go do the other duties. Yes.
Do you think when she came, in the things that she brought with her, a purse or whatever, ladies carry around, do you think she had a change of clothes stashed somewhere where she could get out of servant's clothing and into something that would make her blend a little better? Or do you think she didn't plan really that far ahead?
I think she would have brought a second pair of clothes after getting into the party. Yeah, I just don't know where she would have. Yeah, probably in her purse. Yeah, or
Portia could have helped you stash something if you wanted to stash something ahead of time.
That's also true. It's very true.
That's a very possible thing.
Yes, that.
So,
I don't know if you've ever tried to put a change of clothes in a purse. It's got to be a real big purse. And when I say real big purse, I mean tote bag.
Small child did.
It's a purse polling. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you and Portia maybe communicated beforehand, and she's in the castle enough that she stashed something for you. And in one of your conversations through the evening, she gave you the location. So after dessert is served and people are starting to, clean up and bring more drinks around and do refills and stuff. And a majority of the servants are staying in the kitchen because they don't really need a whole ton out on the floor anymore now that the meal is served. You break away. And you go to the location that your clothing was dropped, and you go and you sneak off and you change. Just give me a stealth really quick to see how nicely you sneak away there. Yeah, 16 will do it. So when all the hustle and bustle is going on, on the ins and outs, there's people coming in and out of the kitchen. On your way back out, you slip off down a hallway, and you make your way down to a closet down the hallway that holds brooms and mops and stuff like that. And you hop into the closet, and in the back corner, you find a bucket that is flipped upside down with another bucket sitting on top of it. And you pick up the top bucket, you move the bottom one, and there is a leather sack that has your clothing in it. And it's sort of finery, not like heiress finery, but like the low royals would wear, like the low of the high class would wear. Something more simple so you can blend in easier. It's like, a nice dress with a nice kind of cloak that kind of goes over it. And you're able to put it on. And do you put your clothes in the bag? What do you do with your old clothes once you put on the nicer one?
I put the old clothes back into the secret hidey hole. And place it exactly the buckets exactly as I found them.
Wonderful. So you leave a trail of evidence, and then you head out to the main floor. What do you do when you get to the main hall?
When I get back to the floor?
Mm-hmm.
I just try to listen in on conversations about that, about the Duke, or anything really. Because if the Duke if there's a rumor of the Duke doing some kind of backdoor deals, then there must be somebody else helping with that, with those deals.
Yeah. So give me another perception. Let's see what you pick up while you're home.
18.
All right. So you're out and about. You dance a little when they have like the old style line dances, not like the hoedown style line dances, but where the dudes and the chicks are on the opposite sides and then they go across and so on. So you do a couple of little things, and you sort of listen around and you make your way through the crowd. And the thing you keep hearing the most, and it's not that you're hearing it a lot, but it's the thing that stands out to you the most, and you've heard it used frequently enough that it picks up. And by frequently enough, I mean maybe 2 or 3 times you've heard it, but it's just something so peculiar that you've never heard this word before. It's not something that you're used to hearing or knowing about, and you're wondering exactly what that means. And you keep hearing the word Spartans.
Okay. As I pass by Portia, thieves attempt to subtly thieves cant that. Something about Spartans and backdoor deals. And thinking about it, I might sneak out again to find the Duke's room. See if I can find anything there.
Does that term ring any bells on my end?
You've heard it before, but it's usually by the gentlemen who are a part of Damon's Gentlemen's Club. He likes to host all kinds of parties in Maya, where is his sort of seat of power. And it's something that you've heard tossed around at those parties by the men that most closely associate with him.
So this is definitely on topic for the evening.
Yes. The Duke does not have a room at the castle.
Okay.
I mean, he does, but it's a childhood room. It's not something that it's got the wooden horse in the corner and the little block train and stuff like that. It's from when he was very young.
So he doesn't sleep here?
Nope. He stays in Maya, which is where he prefers to be, away from his mom and dad, because his mom and dad are the Duke and Duchess of Rifthold, while his grandparents are the King and Queen. So he's out in Maya, which is north of Rifthold in Arderland. It's one of the northern... It's closer to the border of Teresin than it is to Rifthold. And he spends most of his time there because he can do what he wants without his parents, having him under the eye. You've heard rumors about him, the rumors of his child and so on and so forth, right? So you've been out
staying in an inn, like when he's in town for a party like this, or is he gonna drive 5.5 hours home after this kind of deal?
He would stay in his parents' accommodations that they have. They have sort of like a manor house there in town. As they are Duke and Duchess, they have their own. It's not a castle, because Duke and Duchess of Rifthold are next to King and Queen, so it's just a smaller in terms of royal, right? Like, what the hell's the one in London? They've got the one in London. It's like Kensington is like the big one, right? And then they have the smaller ones, right? So it's something similar to that. It's like it would be in Rifthold area, but like one of the manor homes, and he would stay there rather than at the castle. Okay. His grandparents are much more traditional than his parents in the way of upholding his grandfather Dorian's beliefs and trying to bring Rifthold back into a place of light and away from the stain that's on their name from the things that his dad did. So they're much more peaceful people who are loving of the common folk, where he's not as much so. He's more cares about the monarchy and the money and that sort of stuff, and will step on the people he needs to step on without batting an eyelash. So he doesn't want to be getting he's going to get lectures from his parents, but mostly about getting married, where the lectures he would get from his grandparents if he stayed in the castle would be more along the lines of, you need to be a better person, you're not representing our name very well, sort of stuff.
Being a dick.
Yeah.
Noted.
Yeah. So those are the kind of things that you hear as the night goes on, and everybody's able to have a good time and cut up, and there's a table that comes in and gets set up, and it's like a silent auction where you go and you drop your bid papers into the little bowl, and the money that you pay for your raffle tickets and so on. You know, like the fancy versions of all of that. That's what they do. You know, to raise. That's how they raise money. Aside from what has been donated, they present a little award to Azathal. It's a little kind of looks like a trophy, but not necessarily a trophy. Like maybe a statuette, you would call it. And it's a gilded owl statue, and it's pretty much a thank you, you know, from the community for building the Torre and all of that. And as the representative, she receives that award, and they present her with a scroll, a giant scroll that's written out in big letters to say, like, this is how much money was donated, sort of thing. Pretty much the medieval version of the big plastic check. So she gets one of those that's got like a gold seal on it, and that has like the upfront donated amounts. There will be more, but this is just like the showpiece to show how much they're giving, and it's quite a big amount of gold that is being given to the Torre to help with supplies and more building and so on and so forth. And all of the formalities sort of come to an end, and you're able to dance and just enjoy the night and so on. You've picked up as much information as you think you're going to get really in this social setting.
Don't die. That would be inconvenient.
You know when you breathe and you get like spittle that goes into your windpipe when you're breathing, and that makes you choke? That's what I'm doing right now. It's awesome. I love it.
Epiglottis fail.
Yes, science. So, Jesus Christ.
It was serious about the not dying part.
This is awful. I don't understand. I don't understand. But the evening goes on, and some folks start to leave. The party's still happening, and it'll happen for quite some time, but some of the older folks start to leave. The current king and queen retire. He's suffering a little bit of gout, so he's got to get his feet elevated and such. So, you know, old people problems.
Gus understands that for sure.
Yeah, those are bothering her, and his gout is bothering him. So the king and queen retire, but the Duke and Duchess of Rifthold stay. The Duke of Mayo, a majority of the younger nobles and royals stay. And not too long after the king leaves, and the music changes, and they clean up, and they move a majority of the big tables, and they bring in some smaller ones, and all of this kind of happens while you're in the social center of the room. You know, there's some people still sit at the tables, but a majority of everybody is intermingling. They've been drinking long enough that everybody's sort of loosened up some, and, you know, trying to enjoy the night the best that they can now that all of the formalities are over, and the older crowd is starting to leave. It's past their bedtime. You know, they miss the news and all that to be here, so they're ready to go home and get some sleep. Yeah. And as you're like enjoying away the evening, there's a moment where all of the lights go out, and it's there are candle chandeliers and candle lights and candelabras around, and some of the lights are even the magical crystals that keep lights going, and the lights go out and things become chaotic in this moment because people are scared and they're kind of, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. And then you hear a blood-curdling scream. And when the lights come back on, it's not the candles that come back on, but the lights that are the magical crystal lights. And there's not very many of them. So it's like the low light setting in the theater, right? Where it was really bright and then they turn on the low lights and it's just barely illuminating around the edges. There's no spotlight. You find a body in the center of the dance floor, contorted, twisted in an odd shape, the life drained from them, the skin hard and leathery, the face open in a scream. And when you look down and see this body, I think maybe only one of you recognizes them. It is not the young girl, if that's what you're asking. I was thinking about killing her, but I couldn't because it's not nice.
She was so sweet.
For a minute, I'm worried that it's me because you invited me to the.
No.
I'm finding out right now.
It's Gus. Good night.
Thanks for playing.
It is I'm probably going to say this weird. Ainwyn Whitethorn, the daughter of Queen Aelin and King Consort Rowan of Teresin, who is the reigning queen of Doranel. It is her.
Can you put that in our chat so I know how it's spelled, please?
Yeah, it's Ainwyn, Aenyn. Probably saying that wrong. It's like Anglo-Saxony pronunciations, and I'm terrible at those.
I put a W in there. Oops.
Nope, that is not what I have. Okay.
And she is the reigning queen of Doranel, which is the Fae kingdom across the sea. And this is not good. This is not a good thing. This is somebody with connections to Teresin. She's also somebody who was integral in the building of the Torre in Teresin, because that is where she is from initially. Her parents were parents that fought in the war. Like I said, Queen Aelin and King Consort Rowan, like they were a part of the war. They're Fae. They have a longer lifespan than the humans. But this is not a good look. Dead body at the end of a ball, and that's where we're going to end it.
Can I ask a quick question?
You can.
Was Damon with me the whole time?
He was not.
Okay.
And not when the lights went out either.
Yeah, that's what I meant. While the lights were out.
Oh, girl.
None of us saw anything.
Unless you have Devil Sight. No, you did not. And I don't think any of you have Devil Sight at level 1.
But those of us with dark vision couldn't see anything, even though we should have been able to.
Yep, magical darkness.
Gus was just glad. He thought he might have cataracts for a second, so
Everyone's
he was
just like,
relieved when the lights came back on.
He's like, is this it? Is this where my vision goes completely?
Oh God.
No. Yeah, so on that note, that's where we're going to end it for this evening.
Uh-oh.
Cliffhanger.
We will be back on in 2 weeks because this is a bi-weekly game at 8 o'clock Central. I am going to run our outro video and run a raid over, and we will see everybody in 2 weeks. Thanks for coming. We do have a lot of stuff going on the channel, so keep your eyes out. We have our normal Monday game, 7:30 Central on Monday evenings. That is Delirium. It is a Grim Hollow campaign. Coming up on Thursday, the 5th of September, we are starting a Tales from the Yawning Portal campaign. That's going to fill our block while Gilded Destinies is off. Friday nights, we have Concentricity Echoes of Eden. That is our Star Wars 5e campaign. That is a bi-weekly game, but we do play this week. And then Saturday this week, we have the game that's on the opposite weekends of this one, Sumerkula Stories. Will be going into session 2. They're coming out of the Astro Sea there, so that's going to be awesome. So keep your eyes out. Come around, hang around. Thanks for being here. We appreciate all of you. Enjoy the rest of your evening and stuff. Push buttons, really.